as well. So, um, so this is chapter 2, verse 4. And Arjuna said that, I cannot fight. And in this shloka, he's only continuing his uh, symptoms of the depression. As we said, Arjuna Shadyo was the signs of the depression. Now he's in the first few shlokas of the Sankhya Yoga, and Sankhya Yoga means the tattva knowledge, the explanation, the logical explanation of the tattva knowledge is Sankhya Yoga. So in the whole chapter of Sankhya Yoga is pretty much the concise abstract of the Gita we will hear from Lord Krishna. And in the whole chapter one, which was the Arjuna Shad Yoga, Arjun was speaking or blabbering because he was exhibiting a mental illness symptom, and Lord Krishna let him speak. So he speak throughout the whole chapter one. Lord Krishna didn't say anything. In chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga is where Lord Krishna will start speaking, and he in first two shlokas he actually started speaking with critics, as we discussed yesterday. That he asked that why on the planet, you are in this phase, in a depressive phase, in the battlefield, where you should be fighting because you are a warrior, you are a Kshatriya Vada Dharma, but why? And he was actually very, sarcastic about it. And that's what we read in the last two shlokas of Sankhya Yoga, that when Sri Krishna started, you know, talking or pinching out that why, you are behaving like this, you're not supposed to be, you're a man and you're behaving like a woman. Now, in last two slokas, Lord Shri Krishna asked this, that why you are, behaving like this, and Arjun just replied to it here that how would I fight? I mean, how would I fight with Bhishma and Drona? To start with, they both are
Mm.
like they both are my,
My idols, yeah.
my adults, and I pray them. It
Mm.
is very hard for me to fight, and it's but obvious, right? Because now he saw who he's about to fight, so it's a very hard and tricky situation. Okay, that's what the abstract of this. Let's move to shloka 5, please.
Oh, Guru Hatva hi Mahanubhavan Shreyo Bhuktu Bhakshya Piha Loke Hatvarth Kamarsu Guru Nirhaiva Bhujya Bhogana Rudira Pradighyana.
Okay, Hitesh bhai.
It would be better to live in the world by begging than to enjoy life by killing these noble elders who are my teachers. If we kill them, the wealth and pleasures we enjoy will be tainted with blood.
Thank you, Tushar bhai.
Better indeed in this world is to eat even the bread of beggary than to slay the most noble of teachers. But if I kill them, even in this world, all my enjoyments of wealth and desire will be stained with blood.
So I think it's just pretty clear from
Interesting.
the
Yeah.
from the last. He's just
Mm.
continuing blabbering that why would I, I prefer to beg rather than actually
Mm.
kill them. Okay, so quite self-explanatory. In these two shloka, and further on, I think Arjun will continue,
He
showcasing his
just giving his reason why not to fight, isn't it? In these
illogics,
two slokas.
exactly illogics.
Mm.
Anything we have to reflect upon? Additionally, Hitesh bhai, Tushar bhai, or Kishore bhai?
No, I think it's quite
It's quite straightforward.
self-explanatory.
It's quite straightforward. Okay, let's move to slok 6.
6. न चै न चैतद्विदा कतर रत्नो गरियो वध्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेहु यानेव हत्वान युजि विशाम स्तेव स्थिता प्रमुखे धार्ता राष्ट्रः.
Okay, Hitesh bhai.
We do not even know which result of this war is preferable for us, conquering them or being conquered by them. Even after killing them, will not desire to leave. Yet they have taken the side of Dhritarashtra and now stand before us on the battlefield.
Thank you, Tushar bhai.
I, I can scarcely say which will be better, that we should conquer them or that they should conquer us. Even the sons of the trust, after slaying whom we do not wish to live, stand facing us.
Right. Now, it's the same. I mean, he's just again blabbering
Hmm.
about what and what not to do eventually. Now, in the commentary is I have to read this because
Hmm.
there is a good commentary about the architecture. If you remember the architecture of our brain, or let me put up this picture in front of you, and they have discussed this architecture again. So just give me 1 minute. I'm going to post this picture again in the group so that I can put it up straight up on the screen. Okay. So you see that this picture, yeah. So remember our architecture of the brain, and I'm gonna read this out and keep this picture in your mind, and I'll read the explanation. इसके पूर्व के दो श्लोक निसंदेह अर्जुन के मन की व्याकुलता.
Can I see the picture?
It's on the screen, sir.
नहीं स्क्रीन में it's same thing coming translation one,
One
not the
second.
photo one.
Second. Sorry. Let me just share my whole screen. Maybe that's why. Okay. Now can you see?
Now I
Yes,
can see.
Sorry.
yes, correct.
So now, as we discussed just quickly about the picture, so we had five indriyas coming from left to coming from right to the left. Then we have eyes, skin, ears, tongue, and nose, which have five sensory perceptions. Then all of those senses they come to the mind, the objective mind, which is man, and then we have subjective mind, which is buddhi. So this will be explained here now. इसके पूर्व दो श्लोक निसंदेह अर्जुन की के मन की व्याकुलता और भ्रमित स्थिति का संकेत करते हैं. इस श्लोक में बताया जा रहा है कि अर्जुन के मन के संभ्रम का प्रभाव उसकी विवेक बुद्धि पर पड़ा हुआ है. शत्रुओं की सेना को देखकर उसके मन में एक समस्या उत्पन्न हुई, जिसके समाधान के लिए उसे बौद्धिक विवेक शक्ति के मार्गदर्शन की आवश्यकता थी, परंतु अहंकार और युद्ध के परिणाम के संबंध में अत्यधिक चिंतातुर होने के कारण उसका मन बुद्धि से वियुक्त हो चुका था. यह कारण ही अर्जुन के मन और बुद्धि के बीच में एक इसी कारण अर्जुन के मन और बुद्धि के बीच में एक गहरी खाई उत्पन्न हो गई थी. Now, they're talking about the gap between the subjective mind and the objective mind, the man and buddhi. So keep in mind, objective mind is the man and the subjective mind is the buddhi. So the egoistic desires are the one which actually increases the gap. And the more the gap between these two, the more the conflict and the confusion will arise. किसी कार्यालय के कुशल लिपिक की भांति हमारा मन ज्ञानेंद्रियों के द्वारा भिन्न भिन्न विषयों को ग्रहण कर उनको एक व्यवस्थित रूप में बुद्धि के समक्ष निर्णय के लिए प्रस्तुत करता है. बुद्धि अपने पूर्व अनुभवों के आधार पर निर्णय देती है, जिससे मन कर्मेंद्रियों के द्वारा बाहरी जगत में व्यक्त करता है. हमारी जागृत अवस्था के प्रत्येक क्षण में यह समस्त कार्यकलाप चलता रहता है. So this is exactly what they say, right? Like someone who is taking the notes. Our man takes the sensory perceptions from the outside world, which is recorded, and then it presents in front of the buddhi to make a decision. Like as we take an example previously, that you're going outside and you saw something, you saw that ice cream shop, and it's hot outside, and you feel like you want to have ice cream. Now that all the part of seeing is eyes, and it's all collected in the objective mind. And then a desire is actually presented to the buddhi that, oh, okay, I want to eat the ice cream. Buddhi actually collates the memory and it says, oh, by the way, last time when I had the ice cream from the shop, I didn't have good experience. And it make a decision, says that, well, this may be not the good idea. So the desire's been presented into the buddhi to make a decision upon. And this is, by the way, the challenge with Arjuna here was that he had a big gap between his man and buddhi, and he couldn't actually think clearly. Instead, he couldn't even make a decision because he was fallen into the trap of the man. जहां पर इन उपाधियों का कार्य सुचारू रूप से एक संगठित दल अथवा व्यक्तियों की भांति नहीं होता, वहां वह व्यक्ति अंदर से अस्त व्यस्त हो जाता है, जीवन में आने वाली परिस्थितियों का सफलतापूर्वक सामना करने में सक्षम नहीं रह पाता। जब ज्ञान के द्वारा पुनः मन और बुद्धि में संयोजन आ जाता है, तब वही व्यक्ति कुशलतापूर्वक अपना कार्य करने में समर्थ हो जाता है। अर्जुन की निर्कामता शक्ति पर बाह्य परिस्थितियों का कोई प्रभाव नहीं था, बल्कि अपनी मानसिक विहलता के कारण वह अपने आप को कोई निर्णय लेने में समर्थ नहीं हो पा रहा था। वह यह निश्चय नहीं कर पा रहा था कि युद्ध में उसे विजय होना चाहिए अथवा कौरवों को जीतना चाहिए। व्यास जी यहाँ दर्शाते हैं कि इस मोह के प्रभाव न केवल अर्जुन के मन बल्कि उसकी बुद्धि पर भी प्रभाव डाल दिया था। So pretty much that architecture, as we discussed, and it explained how actually Arjun fall into the trap of the Maya and sort of fall into the confusion stage. Okay, now let's come back to, let's reflect something upon it because we discussed about this architecture. Um, so anyone please want to have any reflection upon it, Gitesh bhai?
No, I think that's fine, perfectly fine what you explained. So,
Okay. Kishore bhai?
Oh, that's fine. Basically, Arjun is just find all sorts of excuses to get away from the situation. Full stop.
Yes.
All this what is blabbering. He's just trying to find
mm,
all new reasons or excuses to stop fighting.
Exactly,
mm.
not to fight. Tushar bhai, any reflection? Sorry, Tushar ji, have any
Sorry, I
reflection?
was on mute. Yeah, so it's fine. I think it's explained very well now.
Okay, very good. Let's move to slow verse 7, please.
7. Karpanya dosho bhata स्वभावः पश्यामि त्वा धर्म समुदचेता यच्छेय स्यानिश्चित sorry यच्छेय स्यानिश्चितं बुद्धि तन्मे शिष्य स्तेहम चाधिमाम त्वा प्रपन्नम.
Okay, Gitesh bhai, translation, please.
I can't see it.
Sorry, one second.
English
Yeah.
one. Yeah. I am confused about my duty, and am besieged with anxiety and faint-heartedness. I am your disciple, and am surrendered to you. Please instruct me for certain what is best for me.
Okay, thank you. Tushar bhai.
My heart is overpowered by the taint of pity. My mind is confused as to duty.
Mhm.
Ask thee, tell me decisively what is good for me. I am thy disciple. Instruct me who has taken refuge in thy.
Okay, thank you. So even the Hindi translation is exactly the same.
Mm,
And what Tushar bhai just English explained in English. Only thing to add upon this is which I'm reading through commentary is at this stage, um, as Arjuna himself say, he's confused about his duty. He does not know what
mm,
needs to be done. Now, the key point here is that they mention about dharma. कि इसमें पहले ही धर्म शब्द का हम अर्थ देख चुके हैं कि वस्तु का वह गुण जिसके कारण उस वस्तु का अस्तित्व सिद्ध होता है वह उस वस्तु का धर्म कहलाता है। हिंदू दर्शन मानव धर्म पर बल देता है जिसका अर्थ है प्रत्येक व्यक्ति को अपने शुद्ध दैवी स्वरूप के अनुरूप कार्य रहना चाहिए और उसका प्रयत्न यह होना चाहिए कि वह स्वरूप की महत्ता बनाए रखे और पशुत्व जीवन में व्यतीत ना करे। So I think here the key element is again defining about what dharma Arjuna should follow, which he lost, of course, and he followed. I mean, he lost his sense of duty as he is asking. Now, key point to note here is all this divine knowledge and everything can only be given when you are ready for it. In short, you will not get it unless you're ready for it. Now, here, as you see, he'd been blabbering, he'd been talking about nonsense and lot of illogics and stuff. But now, slowly, he's now opening up his hands, saying, "Prabhu, I'm lost. Now you guide me." as the right way. So that's where we see the transition here. Okay, shloka number 8, please.
Nahi prapashyami maman mamapa nudyad sorry nahi prapashyami mama nudya mudyada yashok mushosha shana midri yanam avampya bhuma vasapannam muddham rajyam suranamapi chadhipatyam.
Thank you. Gitesh bhai.
I can find no means of driving away this anguish that is drying up my senses. Even if I win a prosperous and unrivaled kingdom on the earth or gain sovereignty like the celestial gods, I will be unable to dispel this grip.
Thank you very much. Tushar bhai.
Do not see that it would remove this sorrow that burns up my senses, even if I should attain prosperous and unrivaled dominion on earth, or even lordship over the gods.
Okay. Again, he is just continuing the same
Hmm.
thing that he's saying, I don't see a reason why I should do this, right? Even if I get everything.
Hmm.
I mean, he's saying that even if I win, but the pain, the grief I will get by killing my own tribe, it won't. Throughout my whole life, this path will not allow me to live peacefully. In short, so he don't see a reason why I should fight, right? So, okay, that's what it is. Any reflections on this?
So
I think the timing in previous sloka he was asking for help, which is I think the right thing when you are in a certain position where you can't help yourself. So you have to ask some help. But in this sloka again he's gone back look like to me where he's just trying to justify himself why he doesn't want to fight.
So I think yes, you're right. It is right. It's a bit of a continuation from last one. However, because I mean, I'll read the commentary. यहाँ अर्जुन संकेत करता है कि उसको तत्काल ही मार्गदर्शन की आवश्यकता है, जिसके अभाव
Hmm.
में उसे आंतरिक पीड़ा का सहन करना पड़ रहा है। वह पीड़ा के कारण को व्यक्त करने में असमर्थ अनुभव कर रहा है। यह शोक उनकी ज्ञान इंद्रियों पर प्रभाव डाल रहा है, ना वह ठीक से देख सकता है, ना सुन सकता। So eventually, that's what's happened. That he definitely needs a divine knowledge, and he just continuing in the last slok he did ask about that. I'm under your
Yeah.
I'm आपकी शरण में मैं आ गया हूँ, मुझे आप
Hmm.
उपदेश दीजिए. Now I mean again I think you're right. It's very unclear what he wants, and he um need guidance, but he still keep on giving illogics and
Yeah.
asking that
excuses.
please guide me, excuses, yeah, not to fight, in short, correct. um yeah, okay, any other reflections?
No.
Okay, let's go to shloka 9 then.
Okay. Sanjaya uvacha eva mukta ऋषिकेशं गुडाकेश परन्तं परतं
Tapa,
न यो
Tapa.
परन्तप न योत्स इति गोविन्द मुक्त्वा तुष्णी बभूव बभूव.
Thank
Sorry.
you, that's fine. You trying it, Gitesh bhai?
Here now Sanjay is saying, Sanjay said, having thus spoken, Gudakis, that chastiser of enemies, addressed Rish, Rishikesh, Govind, I shall not fight, and became silent.
Tushar bhai?
Having spoken thus to Rishikesha, Gudakesha, the destroyer of foes, he said to Govinda, I will not fight, and become silent.
So, and it's quite obvious that he was blabbering, and then here he made a statement, a confirmation statement, and I'm done. Throwing the towel.
But
I'm done, and I'm not going to
yet
fight.
Sanjay side means, is it like,
Uh, Sanjay was explaining to Dhritarashtra,
yeah, so I
and
think this is Sanjay is saying to Dhritarashtra what Arjun is saying to Krishna,
to
isn't it?
Krishna, correct. So I'll
Yeah.
read that in the translation. इस
Hmm.
so संजय ने कहा, इस प्रकार गुड़ाकेश परम तप अर्जुन भगवान ऋषिकेश से यह कहकर कि हे गोविंद मैं युद्ध नहीं करूंगा चुप हो गए. So it's like third person.
So yeah,
Okay.
Gudakesh, what is it?
Gudakesh means it's actually reference for Arjun. संजय आगे वर्णन करते हुए कहता है कि भगवान की शरण में जाकर गुड़ाकेश निद्राजित एवं शत्रु पीड़क अर्जुन ने कहा कि वह युद्ध नहीं करेगा. So this is actually given for Arjun. Actually, Gudakesh is a word given for Arjun.
So it's another name for Arjun we're saying
Yes,
here.
given. Yes, जाकर
Oh, I
गुड़ाकेश
see.
निद्राजित एवं शत्रु प्रपीड़क means यहाँ नीचे थोड़ा एक्सप्लेनेशन दिया है कि शत्रु पीड़क अर्जुन अब तीनों जगत को जीतने वाले गोविंद की शरण में पहुंच गया था. So शत्रु, I mean basically Gudakesh is Nidrajit, and Shatru Papidak means someone who is undefeated and who is actually
Oh, okay.
struggling a lot to the enemies. Yeah. So he was, he was referring to him. Just 1 second, please. Getting a call.
Who is Rishikesh?
Rishikesh is God, no?
Oh, is it? Okay.
Rishikesh, here it says Lord of the senses.
Oh, I see.
Not interested at all. Mhm.
Yes, that's very correct. So,
Yeah.
yes, thank you, Tushar, for covering this. Just got the call. So, in short, I think this is the like what I take from this is like a full stop here. And
Yeah, he's
pretty much
completely
happens.
given up right now, isn't
Totally
it?
given up.
Like, yeah,
And
no way I'm gonna fight.
no way I'm gonna fight. However, in previous shloka, he did show that like need for that divine knowledge. That's what the explanation here says. Well,
Hmm.
you clearly see that he needs the divine knowledge. And just on an interesting part, as Sanjay is saying it, so it's a third party. And just imagine what Dhritarashtra might be feeling now, because he's listening this as a third party, and from a remote site, that oh, he's he's done here. So
Hmm.
what? I mean, did we already won the battle or what, right? So we'll read further down, but it's good. Thanks for covering this. Okay, let's move to next shloka, which is
Shloka 9.
verse 10. 9 we just did. 10, please.
Okay. Tamuvacha Rishikesha Prasanniva Bharata Senayoru Senayoru Bhayo Madhye Vishidanta Midam Vachaha.
Thank you. Gitesh bhai.
Oh, Dhritarashtra. Thereafter, in the midst of both the armies, Sri Krishna, smiling, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjun.
Okay,
Thank you.
straightforward.
Tushar bhai.
To him who was despondent in the midst of the two armies, Rishikesha, as if smiling, O Bharata, spoke these words.
Right. So इस प्रकार धर्म अधर्म शुभ और अशुभ इन दो सेनाओं के समूहन के मध्य अर्जुन यानी जीव पूर्ण रूप से अपने सारथी भगवान श्री कृष्ण सूक्ष्म विवेकवती बुद्धि की शरण में आत्मसमर्पण करता है, जो 5 अश्वों यानी 5 ज्ञानेंद्रियों के द्वारा चलित रथ यानी देह अपने पूर्ण नियंत्रण में रखते हैं. ऐसे दुखी और भ्रमित व्यक्ति यानी जीव / अर्जुन को श्री कृष्ण सहाय उसकी अंतिम विजय का आश्वासन देने के साथ ही गीता के आत्म मुक्ति के आध्यात्मिक मार्ग का उपदेश भी करते हैं, जिसके ज्ञान से सदैव ही मनुष्य के शोक मोह की निवृत्ति हो जाती है। उपनिषद के रूपक को ध्यान में रखकर यदि हम संजय के द्वारा चित्रित दर्शन का वर्णन उपयुक्त प्रकार से करें तो हमें इस सनातन पारमार्थिक सत्य के दर्शन होंगे। जब जीव / अर्जुन विषादित होकर शरीर में यानी देह में स्थित हो जाता है और सभी स्वार्थपूर्ण कर्मों के साधनों यानी गांडीव को त्याग कर इंद्रियों को श्वेत अश्व यानी को मन की लगाम के द्वारा संयमित करता है, तब सारथी अर्थात शुद्ध बुद्धि जीव को धर्म शक्ति की सहायता से वह दैवी सामर्थ्य और मार्गदर्शन प्राप्त होता है, जिससे अधर्म की बलवान सेना को भी परास्त कर जीव संपूर्ण विजय को प्राप्त कर सकता है। So, quite a detailed sort of, if you call it the tattva knowledge here, that this happens to us in our life as well. We also, fall into the trap of this. And one thing they mention about is the is this specification with attachment and also the sorrow. So attachment is the cause for the sorrow, as we are seeing here. And here they have done a very good depiction between the Lord Krishna is the Buddhi, is the Vivekpati Buddhi. Then we have 5 senses, and then we have a Jeev who is Arjuna, right? And in our real life also, we also throw the towel and we fall into the trap of Maya. This divine knowledge, which is given in Gita, is a tool that can help us to come out from our grief, and then move on. As you know, even we were discussing last time with mom and others, just come across this concept that when people are about to die, I mean, Gita is taught to them so that their moha can dissipate, and also people who have grief actually can move away from it. So the knowledge says that, well, this is a body only and there is a soul transacts, and we'll read further about it, that who we are and who actually we are, and when we die what happens. So this is what they say, like the attachment causes the grief, in short. And as the shloka said, that the right words which comes out of Gita is what clarifies the attachment, cleans the film which is on the top of the mirror. Because of that you cannot see it properly, and after which you can see when this avran, when this mist, when this dust is cleaned up, then things could be very clear and you'll be back on track. That's eventually what it is. Any reflections on this, please?
So,
I think it's fine. You can just move.
thank you.
Okay, Krish, anything? Good.
बस वही था कि the way you explain those shloka doesn't say that much, isn't it? Like
You are
shloka
right.
is very simple here, like what they say, and
Yes.
but the explanation is quite different.
Yes.
Seems like to me.
It's the commentary. It's the
Yeah.
commentary because, and as I said, right, that's why we're trying to do this. We're trying to get 2 different translations just to see if there is any difference there. But commentary, as even the commentary is here as well. Now, the commentary is what matters the most. Like what this commentary could say something, and what I'm explaining could say something. So commentary is what is the interpretation eventually. So yeah, and then again, Chinmay Mission's commentary is more towards the real life. Like how do we use these concepts in our real life? So okay, let's move to the next one.
Okay.
11. We are doing quite good, so I think with this we could. Right.
Okay.
Please.
Sri Bhagavan Vacha Ashochana Sochatsvam Prajnavadascha Bhashase Gata Sunagata Shusha Nanu Sochanti Panditaha.
Girish bhai.
The Supreme Lord said, while you speak words of wisdom, You are mourning for that which is not worthy of grief. The wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead.
Tushar bhai? Tushar bhai, I think in mute.
Mm.
Maybe he got.
The blessed Lord said, You have grieved for those that should not be grieved for, yet. Sorry, again. You have grieved for those that should not be grieved for, yet you speak of wisdom.
Mm.
The wise grieve neither for living nor for the dead.
Right. Very important shlok, and I think it's a
Mm.
long commentary, but I'm going to read it out because there's a lot of knowledge in this.
Yeah.
First, the first translation. अशोचान यानी जिनके लिए शोक करना उचित नहीं है, एक्सक्यूज मी, उनके लिए तुम शोक करते हो और ज्ञानियों के से वचन करते हो,
Mm.
परंतु ज्ञानी पुरुष मृत, गतासून और जीवित अगतासून दोनों के लिए शोक नहीं करते. That's the translation. So,
Mhm.
um, so in short, Lord Krishna is saying here that, just to explain the translation itself, that you're talking like a jnani because you're blabbering and you're putting a lot of illogics and stuff. You're talking all that, but then you, at the same time, you are grieving about the people who are not meant to be grieved. In short, जब हम अर्जुन के विषाद को ठीक से समझने का प्रयत्न करते हैं, तब यह पहचानना कठिन नहीं होता कि यद्यपि उसका तात्कालिक कारण युद्ध की चुनौती है, परंतु वास्तव में मन मानसिक संताप के यह लक्षण किसी अन्य गंभीर कारण जैसे हैं. जैसा कि एक श्रेष्ठ चिकित्सक रोग के लक्षणों का ही उपचार न करके उस रोग के मूल कारण को दूर करने का प्रयत्न करता है, उसी प्रकार यहाँ भी भगवान श्री कृष्ण शोक, मोह के मूल कारण आत्मज्ञान से ही को ही दूर करने का प्रयत्न करते हैं. शुद्ध आत्मस्वरूप के अज्ञान का कारण अहंकार उत्पन्न होता है. यह अज्ञान न केवल दिव्य स्वरूप को आच्छादित करता है, वरन उसके उस सत्य पर भ्रांति भी उत्पन्न करता है. अर्जुन की यहाँ अहंकार बुद्धि या जीव बुद्धि की वह शरीर, मन और बुद्धि की उपाधियों से परिचिन्न या सीमित है, वास्तव में मोह का कारण है, जिसने स्वजनों के साथ स्नेहासक्ति होने पर अपने मन में यह विषाद और करुणा का भाव उत्पन्न कर लिया था. वह अपने वह अपने आप को असमर्थ और असहाय अनुभव करता है. So, just gonna skip to the point. Okay, इस प्रकार इंद्रिय मन बुद्धि से युक्त शुद्ध आत्मा जीव भाव को प्राप्त करके भार विषयों, भावनाओं, विचारों का दास शिकार बन जाती है. I think this is exactly the same thing we just discussed. In short, I mean, if I just browse through the paragraphs, the explanation is exactly the same what we discussed in last sloka, that it, so if your buddhi is a mirror, the attachments, the moha, is what causes the film of what is it? The film of it's a dust, yeah, which actually create that illusion, the illusion because of which things are not visible very clearly, and that is what happening with Arjuna. And in short, this explanation also talks about the same thing, that the Gita knowledge is a tool to clean that dust off, so you actually can see things very clearly. Uh, this is exactly what the explanation says here. Now, towards the end, they say, जैसे भगवान श्री कृष्ण said कि भाई you are actually grieving for the people who are not supposed to be grieved. Then at the end he said, इनके लिए शोक करना उचित क्यों नहीं है, वे कैसे नित्य हैं, ये जानते हैं. So we continue to the next sloka and then we know why we should not grieve about them. And maybe this might be the last sloka we take today. So 12 would be
Mhm.
like, it's a good number as well. Okay, Kishorji.
Okay. Not Nachwe wow. Sorry. न त्ववा जातु नासम न त्वम नेमे जनाधिपा न चैव न भविष्याम सर्वे वैतम परम.
Okay, thank you, Gitesh bhai.
Yeah. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be.
Tushar bhai.
It is not that at any time in the past, indeed was I not, nor were you, nor these rulers of men, nor verily shall we all ever cease to be hereafter.
Right. So the explanation says this, that um, there was never a time that you never existed or I never existed, right? Which means here they're reflecting the concept of reincarnation, and this is, by the way, is a key within Hinduism, that we believe as Hindus the concept of reincarnation, which is, taking birth in different type of yonis, different type of,
Mm.
for, so as we believe, and I think this is what the picture says here. Kishorji asked about this yesterday. So it starts here as it, well, this is actually not the reincarnation, but this is the phases of life. Uh, and the reincarnation pretty much, there is another picture, I will try to find that on internet, which says that, again, you are an insect and then you become an animal and then all that. So various unias you take, but this jivatma always remains the same. So now to emphasize this knowledge, Lord Krishna says that there was never a time that you were not there and I was not there. And it's very important to understand what he means by this, you were not there or I was not there.
Mm.
The key is that he emphasizes the fact that you, as in your soul, the jivatma you are, we always existed. Now, pay attention, because whatever now you're about to hear is what is the focus of spirituality, the self-realization. And self-realization is actually attained by yoga, meditation, and reading Gita, of course. And what is self-realization is to understand who we actually are. We are not man, we are not buddhi, we are not this body which is visible. It's much, much more deeper than that. And that's what Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, that um, over the time, and soul is actually timeless, limitless. So we always persisted. We existed and we will continue to exist. It's not that we ever died. It's the body that died. Short, right? Which we have taken various different type of bodies, and like
Mm.
in this picture, we have changed the forms. But you as a jivatma, as in who you are, uh, that always existed, right? I give a simple, you know, and Tomally here, that if you look at the word food, you have pasta, you have noodles, you have roti, paratha, naan, bread, Persian bread, Iranian bread, English bread. They all have various forms, but the tattva, the key is grain at the end of the day. It's wheat, right?
Mm.
Now, the form could be anything in any shape or form in any place or time, but eventually what you're eating is wheat. And that's what this emphasizes upon. I mean, the shloka emphasizes on two major things. One is who you actually are, and second is that actual being is timeless. It was always there, which were like persisted throughout the time. So it's not that we were not there in past and we were not, and we will always be continue to exist in the future. That's one aspect, which is reincarnation. Second is that this core element, that who you actually are, which is common in everything. And as a journey of self-realization will realize that, you know, you will tend to find yourself in everything. And that's what pretty much meditation gives you, the experience of your own vastness. We become very limited when we limit ourselves in the frame of our body or our mind or our intellect. But we become unlimited when we expand ourselves to the soul, that who we are, the soul. And this is the whole journey we'll take through Gita, that try to understand who we really are and try to detach from the things which we are not, so that we can actually, minimize our griefs in short and live a life peacefully. That's the crux of it, and that's what Arjun will do when he'll have the Tattva knowledge. His grief, his dust which is on the mirror, will clean up, and he'll see things clearly, and he will act upon his dharma. So very, very important and good shloka. Any reflections, please, on it, Gitesh bhai?
नहीं निमित भाई आपने बहुत अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन किया इसे तो फ्रॉम मी नथिंग
Okay. Kishore bhai, any reflections? I think unmute Tushar bhai. Any reflections?
Basically, what I will say is what you said is this is start of where Krishna is introducing or maybe is telling Arjuna about soul. So this is probably the start of the Gyan effectively.
Yes, correct.
I think here he's not talking about a reincarnation, isn't it? That's the only thing I just got like confused,
Uh,
because he's just saying like we will exist in future as well, but he's not saying as a like I
uh,
think
I-
he's more talking about the soul. Either
yes. So I read through actually what I explained to you, as I read through the explanation. And explanation pretty much talks about the reincarnation.
okay.
Now, the and you're right. In the shloka, it's not obvious that he's talking about reincarnation. He's actually saying this,
Yeah.
that we are timeless. Yeah, we
Yes, that
always
is what
were
I
there.
said.
Exactly.
We were there, we were here right now, and we will be
And we
there.
will exist. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, of course, that's the result.
Yeah.
But the process, how will happen is, which of course, and you're absolutely right. In this shloka explanation, they talk about this concept that in Hinduism we follow, this reincarnation. But he used the same. So reincarnation is the method by
Mm.
which this has happened. That we always existed because of the reincarnation, and we just change the forms. So in the explanation, they have gone, and you're absolutely right. In the translation is not, but while reading the explanation, they have gone like quite a lot of paragraphs talk about the reincarnation. Actually,
Okay.
that's what they talk about. They try to explain what reincarnation does and how it works. So I was just actually going through some picture as well. I think something like this. Well, this is the yeah. I mean, sort of reincarnation. What I wanted to show was a picture where it was more of this is not really well, perhaps maybe.
This
Um,
is the journey in one life, isn't it?
Exactly. This
Yeah,
is this is what I
that's
thought, journey in one life. But as you see, right, maybe it's showing that, you from the dead, the Jivatma goes to take birth and then grows up and then it dies and perhaps then further on goes to another cycle, right? That
Okay.
that is where it is. So okay. So great. Okay, I think we're good for today. We're done till Shloka 12. The pace is good. And with that, we will catch up in a week's time or so. But it's
Mhm.
good to revise anyway. I think.
Yeah.
So with that, we'll close for today, and we'll ask.